Everyone says to us, if I had to work with my spouse, I would literally kill them or kill myself.
Families sold things to other families and traded and bartered with other families for the exchange of goods and services. That was the norm. The family business is actually the core and the center of business going back thousands of years. I think you're more of a marathon person in the way you work, and I'm more of a sprinter. The way that plays out is that you will just sit there at the desk and just work.
For 12 hours
like
straight.
literally, you're just at the desk, just working. And I'm looking at you like, how do you do that? Because for me, I'm more like bursts. And I have to move around.
Yeah.
So like when I'm working, it's like I stand up, I go and do something. Sometimes I'll clean whilst I'm thinking. I have to go stand by the window and look out of it. I'd say you're a lot more impatient than I am.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I am not a patient person.
You're not.
But interestingly,
learning,
no, I'm not. I've been like this my whole life. I am impatient with small daily things. You're impatient for immediate success.
The big vision.
So we're impatient in different ways.
That's
You're
true.
impatient, like as you drive the vision forward, you're impatient. I'm impatient when, about everything else.
I talk too slow, or I'm not getting the thing out as quickly as you'd like me to get it out, or...
You know me well, very
do.
well. I want to know something from the people listening.
Oh, go on.
Do you or could you work with your partner or spouse? And why or why not? Roots and Rigour, Rigour and Flow. Roots and Rigour, Rigour and Flow. Roots and Rigour, Rigour and Flow. Rigour and Flow.
One. So, guess what I have in my glass?
Air? I thought so.
You're exactly right. It is purely for show. We have these new
Mine's not for
Rigour
show.
and Flow mugs.
Yes.
Which we might do some merch. But
we should. Actually, this is a good point to tell people to follow, like, and subscribe.
Yeah,
surely.
follow, like, and subscribe. And then if we do launch some merch, you'll be the first to know.
Exactly. There we go. I like it. I see what you did there.
Did you see what I did there?
I did.
Yeah, okay, great. Welcome back to Rigour and Flow with me, Aiwan.
And me, Tamanda, the show where business meets love.
And culture meets critique.
Yes, ma'am.
What have we got today?
Today we are talking about the thing literally everyone asks us when we go out into the world of work together, which is like, how do you run a business with your spouse?
Literally, how
do you run? Everyone says to us, if I had to work with my spouse, I would literally kill them or kill myself.
Yeah. Like they would get on each other's nerves. It wouldn't work. They'd not get anything done. It would just be a hot mess, is what
people did it in the pandemic, though, didn't they?
And we saw the results.
Babies. Many babies.
Babies, broken homes.
That's true. There was a lot of divorce. There was a lot of actually domestic abuse, which is not good.
Yeah, there was a lot of domestic violence, unfortunately. But today's episode is about family businesses.
Yes.
Our journeys into even getting to grips with family business and what that might mean, and why we might even want to be in a family business, and what it's like to work together so closely. And so that is today's episode.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
I want to start by asking you about how you came to have this, what I experience as like almost an obsession with a family business and like a deep desire for it, because I think back to the very early stages of us knowing each other, and it felt like this is a thing you always wanted to do with your life partner. Where did that come from?
But I think before I even get into that question, I think it's important for people to know what businesses we run together.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really, really important.
Yeah.
Because it almost speaks to some of the things that we're going to delve into later on in the episode.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So we have two main businesses together.
Mm-hmm.
There's AiAi Studios, which is our media production company. I'm saying this to you like...
I do know it, the company of which I am also a co-director, yes. I'm like looking at you like, oh, really? We do? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm quite responsible for that, baby.
But so we run two businesses. AiAi Studios is the first, and that's our media production company. And in that company, we produce film, TV, podcasts, and music. And in that business, I am the exec producer and the founder. And you?
I'm the head of research. So I do all the research that underpins content, but also do data and insights. So when we're thinking about the strategy for shows.
Exactly. And between the two of us, we kind of build out the strategy for the company, sort of set the vision and work with the teams to deliver on the projects that come in through our various clients and commissions. And then our second business is Roots and Rigour, which I'm going to let you speak on.
Roots and Rigour, I actually think of as more of an organisation than a business, because business implies profit. But Roots and Rigour is our community interest non-profit. And we focus on centering overlooked communities in data, research and knowledge. And of course, in Roots and Rigour, Aiwan is head of creative, right? So do you want to say more about what you do?
Yeah, so my job at Roots and Rigour, other than being co-director, is also head of creative. And in that role, I shape the creative vision of the outputs of the research that you undertake. So it's almost translating the incredible work that you're doing. For example, with one of our clients, the Phoenix Way, they're an organisation who raise
and distribute funds to Black and racially minoritized groups across the UK who are addressing racial justice.
Exactly. And they, for example, wanted to tell the story of their work over the last 5 years. And we decided that a film would be good for that. And so we're currently working on a film for them, a documentary film that sort of charts that last 5 years, but also places them within the wider context of grant making in the Black community over the last, 100 or so years.
Yeah, and also legacies of where wealth that grant funders, like where they get their wealth from, right? Which is often tied to colonial estates and slavery and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's part of a much wider history.
Exactly.
Of that story.
And so we run those two businesses together. It has its ups and downs. It's never easy working with anybody. Never mind your other half, who you also have to have a personal relationship with as well. And so this episode really is going to dive into that.
Yeah.
But I am going to answer your question.
Yeah.
And your question was, where did I get this deep desire to run a family business?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I didn't grow up in a family that had a family business. I was raised by my mum, a single mum in Southeast London. She was an employee, very much so. But I think what we were part of was a community. It was a very tight-knit Nigerian Christian community. And we all lived in quite a small space on our estate, and we all knew each other, and our various council flats were like in close proximity, right? So we shared resources, childcare was shared, money was shared, food was shared, and so on and so forth, right? And then we all went to the same church, and often church was multiple days a week. I remember at one point in my life, we were at church like 6 days a week. We practically lived there. And then you've got the extended church community who are at that church that you're around all the time as well. So I was very much embedded in a community that almost functioned like a family business, but without the profit making.
Yeah. Why would you liken it to, I mean, you could, it's interesting that you liken the church to a family business rather than the family business to the church. Do you see what I mean?
That's interesting.
I find that really fascinating.
But isn't that like chicken and egg?
Maybe.
Like, what's coming to mind for you then when I say that? Why would it be the other way around?
Well, I just think that for much of human history, even before the concept of a business as we know it today in a modern term, we all lived collectively. And that collective way of living and sharing resources and cooperating, it feels to me like it precedes the family business as we know it today. And that was or is kind of the norm. So a family business should really emerge out of the community, whether that's, the church or just the nomadic people or whatever it would be, right?
That makes sense. Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from. But then I guess for me, when I think about the family business, I feel like that is also a part of
that structure.
That same structure, because when I think, it's so funny when people come up to us and say, oh my God, I don't know how you could run a business with your partner. I could never do that. I'm like, that's only because you live in this particular time and place in human history, which is actually very, very short relative to the millennia through which pretty much everyone was in family businesses.
Yeah.
Families sold things to other families and traded and bartered with other families for the exchange of goods and services. That was the norm.
Yeah.
This recent thing of you going out to work and doing a 9 to 5 in some faceless billionaire's company and getting a wage and coming home and trading money for goods and services is actually quite a recent phenomenon.
Yeah.
The family business is actually the core and the center of business going back thousands of years.
Yeah, and quite apart from trading and bartering with other families, your subsistence living occurred within the framework of cooperation. So if you look at someone like my mum, who was one of 14 children, and a family, part of the reason for people had so many kids in those days was as a labor force to work the land, because they were all reliant on the food, because you didn't buy it in a shop. You worked together in a business, a family structure to create it and cooperate around it.
Exactly. And I think I really admired, as I've spoken about in our startups, our business episode, where we talked about Whiskey 38 and my journey through the White Rose Shopping Centre. We spoke about my early years watching my grandma and my auntie Margaret as my first sort of role models in terms of entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
And I think I'm almost combining the two in my young mind, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I don't want to be an employee.
Yeah.
I want to be an employer, because there's a freedom in that. I set my own hours, set my own prices, and there's no cap to what I can earn if I get my goods right, of course. And there's a market fit. And then also, I like the idea of doing things with the people I know and love, not strangers. So it's almost like combining the two things in my young brain, which I now understand of as a family business, right?
What is it about wanting to work with people you know and love that you latched onto as a kid? Because that's quite an interesting thing for a kid to latch onto.
Yeah, I think, do you know what it is? I watched my mum go out into the world of work. I watched my stepdad, my aunties and my uncles go out into the world of work. And I watched how easily they were discarded by their employers. If, for whatever reason, it could be a redundancy, it could be just mass layoffs, it could be they didn't like your face, because, of course, back then they were dealing with rampant racism in the workplace. And so I watched how easy they could just be discarded and demoted, and in some cases just outright rejected, So in my mind, I was like, if I create my own thing and I create it with people that I love, I'm not going to be as easily discarded as they were. And then I have all the benefits of having my own thing, my own source of income that I'm in control of. That's the calculation that my young mind was making.
I'm laughing because it makes perfect sense. And actually, there's also something I hear. Obviously, I know a bit about your history. So there's something about the fantasy of family that's wrapped up in work, growing up in a single mom household. But the reason I'm actually laughing is because I was like, oh, if only it was that simple. The thing that was flashing in my mind was the film Succession, or the series Succession.
Oh, yeah.
And the reality of like, one of the things that people fear with family businesses is like, what happens when there's conflict, because it's often not the fantasy you described, right? Like, people are discarded and the stakes are higher often.
But when you're young, you're idealistic.
Oh, of course, I completely get the charge, but I'm the part of me that knows you're in the entertainment industry and has watched you watching Succession over your shoulder is like, oh yeah, we all wake up to certain other realities eventually. Do you know what I mean?
Little did young Aiwan know.
Yeah, I know.
That what awaited was treachery and chaos.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to you as a kid, I obviously know you were brought up by your mum, who was an employee, as you mentioned.
Yeah. But she had an entrepreneurial spirit. So I will give her that.
Yes,
she was always buying things to send back to Nigeria, some to just give away and some to sell. So there was always a business in the making somewhere in there. And I love that about my mum. She was very enterprising.
That's true.
As most Nigerians are.
That is true. Although she wasn't part of a family business per se, which is where I'm getting to. So I'm curious, like, where did you see that model? How did it fix in your head from that fantasy of it to?
Yeah, so there's a few actually. So I grew up at a time where the corner shops were predominantly owned by Asian people. And those Asian shop owners would often have their children working in the shop. So after school, when you went to get your, I don't know, your sweets or whatever, you'd see your classmates working in the shop. And I remember thinking, that is so cool. Now, obviously, I'm a kid, so the things I'm finding cool are probably very silly now. But, you know, it's like they got to use the price gun.
Oh, yeah.
You know the gun.
Do you know kids today probably, oh no, would they have seen price guns? Yeah, because it's...
Yeah, they would have.
They would have, yeah. It's
things
not just
still
barcodes. Barcodes now.
It might be barcodes.
Yeah,
but
I don't
have
think kids
gone
know price guns.
No, because I went into the hair shop and they had like the price on a sticky bit of... So basically, a price gun, if you're that young, that you don't know what a price gun is, and I will try to put a picture up. But it looks like a gun, but it spits out the little sticky label that has the price on it. So if something is $4.99, it will spit out that and loads of them. And then you just go like that and you label the items with the $4.99.
Manually. Not just a barcode that you scan manually.
Exactly. And so they'd get to use the price gun, and I thought that was really cool. They got to go on the till and type in the price, and it did the ka-ching, and then the till would come out.
And then you hear the sound of the tray.
The money drawer comes out, and then they'd give you a change and stuff. And I just thought it was really, really cool. So that was my first model of, okay, this is a family running a local business. And then as I got older, the next thing that I saw was... So
can I stop you for a minute?
Yeah, go on.
Going back to the friends that you saw from school in the thingy, did they actually, like, did you see them working in there? Did they actually like it?
Well, now, at the time, I didn't ask, because it wasn't like they were my close friends. It's like they would be in the same school and you'd say hi and stuff like that. So it wasn't like a best friend.
Yeah.
But now, fast forwarding to our age and seeing a lot of Asians talking about their experiences growing up.
Yeah.
And like particularly comedians talking about it and talking about how much they really hated it. Like they hated working in those shops. You know what I mean? And you know, often their parents wanted them to inherit the shop. And it's just like, I don't want to inherit this shop. And also a lot of their parents were trying to raise them to be doctors and
pharmacists
and pharmacists, engineers, that sort of thing. So they would qualify, and then that was the end of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a long one, but a lot of them didn't seem to like it once we reached adulthood, and I could actually see what they actually thought of being there. I guess the price gun wasn't as cool as I thought.
Okay.
But then I think the other example, as I got a bit older and I started to tap into the prosperity gospel preachers. So there were a few channels that we used to watch. There was TBN, which was the main one, and it was Trinity Broadcasting Network. And on it, you would have all of the superstar preachers of the day. That's everyone from Benny Hinn to Bishop T.D. Jakes, Joyce Meyer.
Yes, no Joyce.
Massive preachers. And all of them, their families worked in their businesses. So you would actually see, so for example, Joyce Meyer has 4 children, 2 girls, 2 boys. Even up till now, all 4 of them are either in the ministry or adjacent, or running her ministry, Joyce Meyer Ministries. Wow. Then if you go to Bishop T.D. Jakes, he has just recently handed over his ministry, the Potter's House, to his daughter, Sarah Jakes.
Wow.
To run with her husband. So he's passed on the mantle to her. And so, you know, I've watched those people come up from relatively young all the way through to now running their fathers and mothers' empires.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they were basically being groomed, you know, to run these empires. So, you know, every time you put on those TV channels, it was always them. And this is my daughter, Sarah, and, you know, and it's my son, David, and he's a minister of God. And he has really been given the Holy Spirit. He is anointed to lead the flock, you know, and he's going to pray with you right now. So if you wouldn't mind just reaching out, putting your hand on the TV My son David is anointed to deliver the Holy Ghost to you, and whatever your need is, where you are right now, God is going to move tonight in your home. The cancer is gone. Tuberculosis is gone. The leprosy is gone. And you are rich in the mighty name of Jesus. David, come here and just preach for them tonight.
When is your Hollywood casting happening? Because that was, I've not seen it, so I want to do a side-by-side comparison, but that was very compelling, I must say. Very
I'll
compelling.
put some organ underneath it. There's always organ.
Can you do some sound design on it?
I'll do some sound design.
Right now?
Right. David, just come over here. Just come over here, David.
Put your hand on the TV.
But that's
so you were inspired, obviously, by this.
Huge. I was like, I want to inherit someone's Christian empire.
I do too, actually.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I want to inherit someone's Christian empire. So, those are some of the earliest real understandings in the real world of family businesses, and just seeing how wealth can be built and wealth can be passed on.
Okay, am I allowed to psychoanalyze you in this episode?
Please do.
I feel like it's all making so much sense to me, because if there's one thing I've heard you wrestle with a lot, even as an adult, it's this idea of generational wealth and wanting to pass on something to our children, which we don't have yet.
Mm-hmm. I have got a godson.
You have got a godson, and you talk about him all the time. And what would you be able to pass on to him? What would you be able to pass on to him? Mm-hmm. And I know that sits alongside a knowing that you are unlikely to inherit anything.
Yes.
So I guess I'm just connecting new dots about what role family business plays in your, I guess, spiritual, psychological, emotional headspace, given where you've come from and what it would mean for you. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's an interesting one, inheritance, because for whatever reason, I'm not trying to cast aspersions on my parents at all. Do you know what I mean? That's not what this is. It's just that when I think about what a parent should leave behind for their kid, I feel like you should absolutely be leaving something for them to build on. There's something about standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And it's not just in terms of what they taught you. That's important. Values, character, very, very important. But I also believe there should be something material. So they're not starting from zero. Even if I knew they were going to waste it, I would still want to know that I left them something, at the very least, that you were left with something upon which to build in terms of material things. Maybe that's silly. I don't know. It's something I'm still trying to understand, but I'm definitely conscious of the fact that I've watched my friends inherit things at key moments of their life, and I've seen the way it's propelled them in their careers. An example is, I remember I started out doing location sound recording for films. That's the one where you hold the boom pole on a location somewhere to record the sound. And I had the cheapest equipment, just really pieced together, not the most professional, although I could get really good sound from it.
Yeah.
Which is something about knowing your tools.
You were resourceful with what you had. Yeah.
Yeah, my sound was good.
Yeah.
And then I remember there was a guy who was new to sound. So I'd been doing sound for a few years at that time, and he was new to sound. And we worked together a little bit. I taught him a little bit about sound, and he came to some of my events that I put on at the studio that I had at the time. And it was overnight, he inherited money from a great aunt who passed away. And it was literally within a few weeks, he had equipment that was 10 times the amount that I had. And it was industry standard, all bells and whistles. And he bought a car. He inherited a lot of money. He bought a car and a house. In the space of a few months, he was able to outdo me in terms of like clients, because he had gear that was definitely professional and could be, not only could people hire him, but they could hire his equipment.
gear. Yeah, and now you're making money even when you're not needed to sustain all sorts of other things.
Exactly. And because he had a car, he could travel greater distances to more remote locations. Because you remember, a lot of filming happens in like really remote places.
Yeah.
So if you have a car, you can not only do that, but you can also charge a bit more to drive other people to those locations.
Yeah.
Because now you're a driver
Yeah.
and a sound person.
Yeah.
And so overnight, he was like a million miles ahead of me.
Yeah.
Without even half the experience that I had.
Yep.
Purely because of his inheritance.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, yo, and then I really started to grapple with this inheritance thing, because I was like, if I inherited money, the things I could do with that and the way I could
propel career,
my life, a bit like I talked about in the business podcast that we did. And I talked about not having the bike, and the kid who had the bike to do the paper on, and how he could deliver more papers than me and so earn more money than me, who had to walk around on foot.
It accumulates. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It accumulates. The more you have, the more you can get, and the more easily you can get it.
Exactly. So when I talk about that wealth thing, that is what I mean.
Yeah, it's true. And it's not a joke. And, you know, even as you describe that, and family business is a vehicle for that, I've had exactly the same experience. I've seen many friends inherit all manner of things, not least jobs in family businesses straight out of school, from a private school that I went to. Inherit family businesses, in fact, inherit or just be handed lump sums to contribute to their mortgage so that they can buy a house.
Yep.
Or even just inherit right to live in a place where the rent is already paid or that's been bought outright so that they could save and have capital to have their own home.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen so many variations on it. And in every single case, it allows those people the level of safety to accumulate more and more and more. And so the gap just grows and grows and grows, and it grows exponentially.
Like let's go back to my Asian friends with their parents who had the shops. As soon as they got to the age of like university, they could go to the best. In fact, a lot of them went to private schools.
Yeah.
So they didn't often go to the schools that were in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
They went to a different school, and you just see them on road and you'd be like, hey, you knew that their parent owned the shop.
Yeah.
But they went to private schools. Then their fees were paid at university. Then their parents would buy them a house or give them the deposit to buy a house, and so on and so forth.
And the wealth was retained in, it compounds. That's the word I was looking for.
You know?
Yeah.
In a way that, unfortunately, for whatever reason in my life, that hasn't been
happened.
the case.
Yeah.
And that's just it. It's not like I'm bitter or like complaining or pointing fingers at anyone. It's just a statement of fact.
It's a statement of fact. And but this is a statement of fact that has, you know, it's getting loads of attention, definitely in my space. I won't get into it too much, but there is something about being able to hold on to wealth within your community, which starts with a family.
Exactly.
And yeah, I see, you know, I may have had many, many privileges, but I've certainly never inherited anything or been given a lump sum to buy a house or anything of that nature. And you really, really see the difference and what it means for outcomes. So of course, if you're thinking about having children or building a family, it makes sense to want to do that and to have seen models to then follow something when you've seen those models, right?
Exactly. I would not want to have a child and get to the end of my life and not have left anything substantial for them to do whatever it is they want to do with it. If they want to squander it, fine. If you want to build something, you've got to build. I wouldn't want to have my little girl become a sound engineer, scrabbling to piece together a sound rig. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I used a handbag as my first bag for my mixer. Literally, it was a handbag that I converted.
Was it a Primark? Probably was a Primark.
It was a Primark. It was a
They
Primark
had some good
handbag.
strong bags, you know.
So they had some good strong bags.
I know.
And do you know what I did? I used to tape together 2 blocks of polystyrene to lift my field recorder to the height of the opening of the bag so that I could access the controls easily, because it would have sunk too deep. So it was like polystyrene blocks on top of each other. My first windshield for my mic, I made it myself. I sewed it myself. And the only material I could find that would do it was bright red. And normally it should be like grey. But these are the things that I had to do. It made me resourceful. Like I can get good sound out of the shittiest equipment as a result. So, you know, don't knock it.
No, it's true. But then sometimes people want to glamorize the resourcefulness when actually you deserve ease.
Yeah.
And that's what we all want for our future generations. You don't want them to have to scrabble so much. Yes, it can be character building, but also like, why is it okay that that's the case in the first place?
Yeah.
You know?
You know, the funny thing, I'm pretty sure I used that same rig for the UK Black Pride Time Capsule podcast. I think I gave it to Toby to use to capture the field sounds. So if I can find that picture, I'll put it up so everyone can see it. No, serious.
That would be great, because that's not that long ago. That's recent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I basically stopped after Coronation Street. I stopped doing location sound recording, and so never really bothered investing anymore.
Yeah.
So I think I just took that rig and just gave it to them to do the sound there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
It is. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Those are my thoughts on family business. Do you have any thoughts or feelings?
I do. I guess, well, mine are not, I don't have that long-standing, obsession with family business that I think it sounds like you started thinking about it really young. Mm-hmm. But one thing I would say was that meeting you was the first time I ever considered family business, because I guess you just had this vision of doing, like, what are we building together was kind of almost always an undercurrent of everything that we spoke about. Mm-hmm. And that I really related to. I might not have thought about it as business, but what are we building together is literally the template I inherited from my parents.
Okay.
So they don't tend to call it a business, but my parents have a farm. They grow absolutely everything they eat. Okay. It is exceptionally hard work. It requires like serious cooperation, serious care.
Because they're doing it in the desert.
They're doing it in the desert. Like, the amount those guys have to water the crops that they eat.
No.
But I'll tell you what, the hard work that they put in pays off, because their food is level. Sensational. Better than anything you can buy in the shops.
The honey, the oranges,
the tomatoes,
peaches, the strawberries,
the peas,
the guinea fowl,
the oranges.
Yeah.
The lemons.
They're so good, in fact, that the locals are stealing them.
Yeah, exactly. The mangoes, the strawberries, and then the jam and my mum makes from it.
And the ice creams that she makes. And
it's gorgeous. And, neither of them work. So essentially, if they weren't, cultivating the land and functioning in that way, they wouldn't be eating, essentially. So it's amazing. If my parents did not work so well together and communicate so well together and cultivate this land, they literally wouldn't eat, because that's their livelihood, essentially. I think, my parents always took this attitude of cooperating over everything. So you bringing that to me, and of course they do sell some of their produce as well. I should mention that. Like, they're not necessarily business minded or thinking in terms of profit, but they sell their jam, they sell their honey, they sell their guinea fowls, they sell produce, and people love it.
They do.
I think they should charge way more than they actually charge personally, but the business part of the family is sometimes missing.
Well, if we were in there doing the thing, it would exponentially grow.
We'd be like, profit first. Like raging black capitalists on the farmlands of Africa.
Listen, I ain't complaining.
Yeah, well, that would be a good life, I'm sure. Anyway, your attitude to family business made sense, even if I didn't think about the financials of it. And it felt very, very familiar. And then the other thing about your way of thinking is, I have a very close bestie and friend and sister who called Debs.
Yeah, like Debs.
And Debs has always said to me, oh yeah, work is definitely Tamanda's love language.
She's not wrong.
Because it's true. Like, I always seek out work relationships, or my best collaborations and partnerships come from people I'm friends with already, or get to know. I think solid work partnerships are built on solid relationships, and the relational piece has to come first. Now, I'm obviously not in a romantic relationship with all those people, but it's not a stretch then to be like, yes, I'm going to build something with the woman I love that also feeds us and sustains us, and hopefully can sustain any future generations, right? That's just what it is. The other thing, quite apart from work being my love language, the other thing that really stood out to me when you were talking about family business. You said millennia ago, this was the norm. And I think my parents somehow still live out that in being on a farm today. And one thing I became really struck by when I was doing my research on the workplace in the UK was going back to understand the trajectory that, as you said, this way of working, this thing we do, it's a pretty modern phenomenon, right?
Yes.
Like the idea that you come in and you work for a corporation that is in some ways faceless. You don't know, you may never meet the owners.
Yeah.
And there may be multiple owners of a corporation that you have nothing to do with,
They're
and
not even a
shareholders.
part of your community. They're not even part of your tribe.
Yeah, and to them, you're just a cog in a wheel to get certain kinds of numbers on a kind of spreadsheet at the end of each year, you know. So this is really, as you said, it's like really quite a modern phenomenon, as is this idea that when you go to work, there's your professional work self, and then there's your personal self, and that sits somewhere else. So the way that played out in my research is I was often talking about religion and spirituality in the workplace. Okay. And then what you hear a lot in the workplace is things like you leave faith at the door. I mean, that would to previous generations be preposterous. And likewise, the idea and the reaction we get from other people, like I could never work with my partner, it would be preposterous to previous generations because, well, what else would there have been?
Yeah, who else do you want to work with?
Who would you be
other than your
working
family?
for? Do you know what I mean?
Do you not love and care about your family and its future?
But then the love
Do you
bit,
not want to build wealth for your people and pass it on and have it compound?
But even that is a little bit fantasy as well, because in a way, for those generations, the marriage wasn't always about love and relationship. It
That's
was a
true.
transaction.
It was
a
convenience.
contract.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not even convenience. It was a contract. People had arranged marriages to make sure the livelihood of their next generation would be okay, and it was done like business.
Yes.
That's true. It was a business arrangement.
Because families were business.
Yeah. And even this idea of a romantic modern love probably emerges at the same time as this idea of business emerges. Now love is a choice.
Yes.
Now we get to do this thing and have this romantic story around it rather than it be like we're just trying to survive. Okay.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And this is
Although
the arrangement.
in certain echelons of society, it's still strongly encouraged that you marry certain people and into certain
absolutely.
bloodlines as
Absolutely.
well. And it's for, again, it is not just for the preservation of the bloodline, it's also for preservation of
wealth. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think we could all possibly take some notes from that.
Definitely. There's elements
I don't want to
of that.
cause any chaos and confusion and drama.
Well, I mean, we can at least acknowledge the reality of it,
Of course.
of what that is.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, I guess just the reason I was saying that is this idea that your family and your business would be separate is really very, as you were saying, very, very new.
Exactly.
Indeed. And the reason why I mentioned that is we spoke in a previous episode about us working in the world of startups.
Oh, yes.
And us doing an investment readiness program with Creative UK. And apart from how do you not kill each other, the other really common response we received during that period was, how do investors perceive to women, in this case, who are married as the founders of the business, and is that investable or is that risky? And very often it seemed to be like, is a family business more risky? You know, what if something goes wrong?
Yeah, what are the mechanisms you have in place to protect the business?
Yeah.
If, for example, God forbid, you divorce, there's a rupture, you know, what happens then?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And but then you had two kind of schools of thought, I felt, when we were watching that.
Same.
Some who felt family business is risky. And despite the fact that many family offices are the people investing in businesses,
This is what was so
says something.
interesting. Yeah, very often they were family offices.
Yeah, exactly. And then another school of thought who were like, oh no, family business is exactly what we like. They see it as more stable, more secure. And I imagine that depends on how you've built your own wealth and how you understand those business models. I just found that fascinating.
Yeah, it really was interesting. And at first, when some of those reservations were brought up, it kind of took me aback, actually, because I had never thought of it.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of made me go, what? And then obviously as people started to explain, I was like, okay, I get it. But then also two founders who aren't married and are just friends, that could also rupture.
Yeah.
Any
relationship can rupture.
And it can go sideways. You know, if anything, I think there's more protections if you're married.
Yeah, it's actually
I
a very
think.
interesting one because we've definitely met people and been mentored by people who have run family businesses
Yes.
together, and then there has been a rupture and a separation and a divorce, for example. In my experience of you and I, and okay, we haven't been doing this for decades and decades yet, our relationship helped secure the foundation, not least because it was so important to us to safeguard our relationship, our personal relationship, that we had so many difficult conversations up front about what would this mean? How are we splitting the shareholdings?
Yep.
Who do we bring on board?
Yep.
What happens if? How do we create work, personal life boundaries? We had so many conversations.
Really important ones, actually, the more I reflect on it.
Yeah, and we continue to have those kinds of conversations all the time. Recently, we went to an event called Climb 25, hosted by the Climb UK team. And I bumped into, in fact, we both spoke to Carl and Chris, his co-owner, Dalrymple. And they were two best friends, I think, from high school. And they said exactly the same thing that we had, which was that their relationship and friendship was so important to them that they ended up having all the really, really, really tricky conversations up front.
Yep.
And they felt that them being friends actually gave them a stronger foundation for the work that they were doing because they knew each other, they trusted each other, and so on and so forth. So it was really interesting to encounter people perceiving it as risky, I have to say.
Absolutely. And I guess it's influenced by your own personal experience. It's influenced by the way you choose to do business and the kind of things you want to invest in and so on and so forth. But
honestly, it's influenced by your understanding of history because there's a strong degree of, I would say, collective amnesia to not realizing that has been quite a foundational model.
We've been talking this episode about family businesses and the fact that we run two businesses together. One's more of an organization. In your opinion, what does it take to successfully run a family business?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, number one, really strong communication.
Yes.
I would have to put that like up at the top because you've got to communicate across so many different arenas of your life. And if you don't tackle things that come up in one area of your life, whether that's your intimate relationship or your working life, the risk of those things snowballing and escalating rapidly, I would imagine is higher. I don't know because we've mostly been quite smooth sailing so far, but
listen, you can't
tackle
sweep things under the rug.
You can't.
It will trip you up.
You cannot.
You have to communicate, and you have to communicate quite quickly and well.
Yeah, which you're really good at, I have to say.
Oh, why? Thank you.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're very, very good at tackling things head on.
But I think we're both really good at communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And saying the thing that needs to be said.
Even if it's difficult.
And really trying to find the right time to say that thing as well. And I think we're quite good at repair.
Yeah.
So if anything happens that sort of disrupts or causes a rupture, we're quite good at coming back together to repair the thing.
Yeah.
And repair it in a way that's meaningful to both parties.
Yeah.
And so that we both win, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes it's quite amazing because it's taken well into my adult life to experience that. But when you're able to repair quickly, one of the things you realize is you actually requires total candor, radical candor, but love as well.
Yes.
You have to be able to do that. And that requires somebody else who's willing and able to do that.
Yes.
And I guess a level of maturity.
Huge amounts of maturity, because in those moments of repair and reconciliation, you have to be able to admit if you were wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to be able to apologize.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to see the other person's perspective and almost place yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
Even if you may not necessarily agree with what they're saying 100%, but you've still got to be able to see it from their perspective.
Humility and empathy and all the things.
All of those things.
Yeah,
and sometimes you've got to do that
in
moments of intensity.
Yeah.
You know, where
when
things
the
are
stakes are
when the
already
stakes
high.
are already high,
And sometimes when there's outsiders involved as well. You know,
outsiders
you're going to go into
involved.
another meeting with other people.
Yeah, or things are moving at a fast pace. Like my industry, we're always moving at a fast
Yeah.
pace, and you're making decisions really quickly, and you're having to do all these things, and then something happens. You've got to be able to deal with quite tender things. I always say like a relationship is like an egg.
Yeah, you
and
do.
you've got to hold it gently, even while you're running around trying to sort out 1,000 million things.
Yeah.
And you've still got to be able to hold that thing and not drop it and have it smash all over the place and say, deal with the thing and then get on with the other thing, you know?
I love that. Do you know what? It's funny you saying that, because I used to spend a lot of time thinking about that in the workplace, and what point in society did we get to the point where we work for workplaces but workplaces don't work for us?
Ooh.
You know, I really used to spend time thinking about that on all manner of issues, including being a woman who now knows it's endometriosis I struggle with. And what does it mean that I have to come and turn up when I'm virtually broken to a workplace, which is why I don't work for anyone else now, and perform being present when I kill myself the rest of the time and I can't even have 2 days? What kind of loveless form of capitalism really allows that to happen in the first place?
Exactly.
And I think you describing that egg is so much how I used to imagine, but not have words to describe what I hoped a workplace could be. And I don't think that requires a romantic relationship. There is something about the relational care of knowing we are doing something together and we are holding this thing as if it is sacred and fragile. And that is the most important thing.
Exactly.
You know, of course we want to eat. Of course we have clients. Of course there is work. Of course we have partners. But the thing that matters are the relationships that hold all of that together and make it possible.
It makes me think, when I think about family businesses going back in time, let's say a woman was going through something. Like I remember like reading in the Bible, you know, like a woman would set time aside for her for her period. And she'd, you know, go and do her thing for 5 days or however long her cycle lasted. And then she'd come back into the gathering. You couldn't do that in a capitalistic society.
Yeah.
You have to go to work and you have to keep working, even though it's unnatural for your particular cycle and for your health, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and now, of course, we have it all back in the form of cycle syncing, and people saying this, whether people can realistically cycle sync in a capitalist workplace is another thing.
what's cycle syncing?
Where people, women try to match their work rate and their work output, even down to their time in the gym and what kinds of workouts they do, to their monthly cycle.
Okay, but can you do that in a workplace?
People attempt to. Can you is another matter. Most employers don't even have good, you know, examples of talking about things like menstrual leave. Endometriosis Society is doing quite a lot of work to push for support in that area. But yeah, most workplaces, these things are taboo. They're not discussed. And, you know, that gets talked about in the reproductive health space quite a bit. But anyway, you know, the point is, I used to fantasize about, if I had an organization long before I met you, what kind of policies would I put in place that would allow for that kind of well-being and care, which I know people scoff at, and they say, well, you know, if you don't have your, you know, if people aren't present and if you aren't looking over them every second of the day, they won't work as well. I just think there is no evidence of that.
I mean, the pandemic showed that.
Yeah.
If anything, we worked more.
Yeah, I certainly did.
Yeah, I definitely did. Sometimes I was working 15, 16 hours a day.
And you're not exhausted by travel.
No.
And you're not, everyone's an extrovert and wants to have 20 interactions a day.
Exactly.
So.
I think the thing for me that I would add in terms of what it takes to run a family business is you've got to make sure that you're pulling in the same direction, that you're both aligned in terms of your vision for what the business is going to be.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, then it's going to be a very frustrating experience. What I can say, working with you, is that our values are aligned.
Yes.
Like the stuff we want to work on, the people we want to work with, the communities we want to serve, the stories we want to tell, the research we want to do is all aligned.
Yeah, that's true.
And I am so grateful for that, because we haven't actually had to have too many big discussions about, well, what direction? It's almost like You say something, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Or I say something like, that's exactly what I was thinking. We're very much aligned and united.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important. How easy that is to find, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I have it, but I think it's important.
I completely agree. And actually, it's made me think one more thing is it really helps if you respect and enjoy your partner's competence, because I must say, like, I look at the stuff that you do. Your skill set to me is complementary,
Same,
but
vice
elevates everything that way beyond what I could imagine possible. You're just brilliant at what you do, and I actually love watching you at work. I've always said I find competence very sexy.
Yes, you have said that.
but I mean, quite apart from it being an intimate relationship, there is something about really respecting and valuing the what your partner brings to the table in a work context.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's the same, like our organizations are like our babies.
Yes.
I've heard friends who've had children with their partner, and when it's a good relationship or a good dynamic, they talk about, how they love their partner even more, having seen them as a father. Like that's one friend I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And I just remember a friend telling me that and just feeling like, yeah, that is how it should be. But I feel that way watching you with work. Mm-hmm. I look at you and I think, oh, I'm really proud that that's my co-director. She also happens to be my wife, but I am really proud of what you do all the time.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about you. And I think our skills are so complementary that we rarely ever strain to the other's lane, particularly as we develop. Obviously, in the beginning, we were really trying to figure out, well, what's your responsibility? What's mine? What's your role? What's mine? And so very often we'd overlap. We'd both be going to the same meeting and then sort of coming out going, I don't think...
We're not making the most of having two of us here. Like we should be really dividing and like separating.
And I think say that in the last year, as in like 2025, we've really managed to do that.
Yeah.
And seeing the benefits of that, the compounding effect of us being in our lanes has exponentially helped grow the business.
Yeah, but I would argue that the time we spent together in this foundation period has been so essential to actually each of us understanding what we do, our complementary skill sets, and how to present them out there to other people.
That's true.
But yes, the clearly defined roles and responsibilities has been a game changer. I agree.
So that brings me on to an interesting question.
Yes.
Which is, what has it actually been like working together? Because I can imagine like the audience going, yeah.
Whatever.
You're telling us the PR campaign. What's it actually been like? So
that is a good question. I mean, you might think it's a PR campaign, but genuinely, I have really enjoyed working with Aiwan. Okay, if I had to say the things that are difficult.
Yeah, go on.
Some of the challenges, which I think we've mostly addressed in recent months, have been when we struggle to have a separation between our personal life in terms of boundaries and our working life.
Yep.
And so we could be lying in bed on a Saturday and because the thing about you is your hobby is business. You like thinking about business and this and money and and I'm like, that is my worst nightmare. So I could wake up on a Sunday and you'll be like saying, this is the strategy for this financial. Sometimes you do it with creative ideas, which I find more appealing, I must admit. But sometimes it's a lot. I'm like, can we just be a wife and a wife, please? Thank you. So that's been challenging. But some of the big things there have been shifting where we work. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of that was because we worked in the same house that we eat in. Since we started working in our own separate spaces and offices in the day, that's shifted. The other thing is we are workaholics. And in our relationship, there's no one who will go, okay, it's time to stop now, knock this off. We will both keep going to the bitter end.
Although I think I'm slightly better. Like,
Us going to Portugal...
Yeah.
That was the first time in my life I have been the one to say to a partner, stop, I'm not talking about work, I'm booking this holiday, I'm doing it right now. And you were saying, no, we can't afford to go, we can't go right now.
No, I'm thinking about on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, on a day-to-day basis, I accept. But I'm just saying that was new for me. Never have I been the one to be like, I'm done, I have nothing left in me, you know?
But that's the thing, it takes getting to that point for you to say that.
Yeah,
do you know
that's
what I mean?
true.
But I think... Yeah, no, I agree with that. We're definitely, we really love our work. I think part of it is that we love the work that we do. So it doesn't necessarily feel like work. So we just want to keep doing it. No,
Really?
actually,
I mean,
now
kind
that
of, yes.
is the PR
That's a
campaign.
PR campaign. Secretly, she always tells me that her dream life is to be a beach barman. She's landed in the wrong life. So absolute nonsense. But you do actually love your work as well. So
I do. I love, being a creative. Absolutely.
what would be your things if you were going to say, what are the challenges beyond the PR campaign?
I would say that the same. I would say in terms of the constantly talking about work, your thing, because you're into data and insights, I've really noticed it since launching this show. Like you will just wake up in the morning and you'll be like, so on TikTok, we've now got 11,000 views on the Women and Patriarchy video, and we've received an extra 10 follows on the LinkedIn Rigour Flow page. And I just get like this data report. And I'm still trying to work out what land I'm in. Whether I'm in the land of the living or am I still sleeping, I'm getting this
You with the
data
ancestors.
report. It's like the Orwellian thing, 1984, where they through the speakers, it's that voice,
The broadcast.
The broadcast.
Oh, I didn't know you felt this way. That's hilarious. Okay, I've got to stop my data updates in the morning.
My data and insights report, and I'm sort of like, yeah, okay, that's great. Trying to be like enthusiastic because mostly I never check the data.
You never
I don't
do.
care about the insights.
And you'll suddenly go, oh, do you know we've got 11.5k views on the sickle cell cut down?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Because you're like,
I refresh it every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, I'd say that's certainly a quirk. I think you're more of a marathon.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a marathon person in the way you work, and I'm more of a sprinter.
Yeah.
So how the way that plays out is that you will just sit there at the desk and just work.
For 12 hours
like
straight.
literally, you're just at the desk, just working. And I'm looking at you like, how do you do that? Because for me, I'm more like bursts and I have to move around.
Yeah.
So like when I'm working, it's like I stand up, I go and do something. Sometimes I'll clean whilst I'm thinking. I have to go stand by the window and look out of it. I have to put something on to listen to.
Yeah, and then if we're ever in the same house working, which is why it's great we've separated our office, you'll come in and do all your shenanigans while I'm working in the living room for my 12 hours uninterrupted, I might add, and you're just doing, I'm like, this is a workplace.
Yeah, you're like, this
Stop
is my
it.
office right now. And I'm like, okay.
That's why we don't do that anymore.
Yes, we don't.
We are better.
Exactly. I'd say you're a lot more impatient than I am.
Oh, 100%. Impatience is not my virtue.
Oh, impatience is not your virtue.
No,
It is your
patience
virtue.
is not my virtue.
Okay, yeah.
I am not a patient
You're
person.
not.
But
You are
interestingly,
learning,
no, I'm not. I've been like this my whole life. I am impatient with small daily things. You're impatient for immediate success.
The big
So
vision.
we're impatient in different ways.
That's
You're
true.
impatient, like as you drive the vision forward,
Yeah.
you're impatient. I'm impatient when, about
I
everything
talk too
else.
slow, or I'm not getting the thing out as quickly as you'd like me to get it out, or I'm not understanding what you're saying at the speed of light because your brain works like a researcher. You've already joined 10 dots and I'm still working out where the first dot actually is. I'm like, sorry, when you said this and you're just like,
I'm not going to lie, that is so accurate.
and I could see your eyebrow just twitching as I'm still trying to locate that first dot.
This PR campaign unraveled fast. I'm learning new things today. Oh my God. It's true though.
It's the eyebrow twitch for me because I see it and then I think to myself, shit, how am I going to, and then I'm like, should I ask for clarification? Let me not ask for clarification. I'll ask for clarification later after she's eaten.
I like that you said after she's eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know me well,
Yeah, I
very
do.
well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there isn't at least one more complaint that has come from every other workplace or person that's worked with me.
No, there wouldn't be.
Oh no, there is.
Go on, tell me. I want to know.
Okay, you're gonna relate to it when you hear it. I do marathons, but not only do I do marathons, I bash my keyboard. I say,
my God. You know, I'm actually going to sample your typing. I'm going to put it in to this episode so people can hear because your typing is actually quite interesting
Demonic.
and just very deep. I've never heard anyone bash that keyboard like that. It's
And
like
I'm
you're getting rid of like your
rage.
exercising
Yeah.
demons.
Yeah. But it's not, it's just that I get intensely focused and I wear noise cancelling headphones.
Fine.
Even when I didn't wear noise cancelling headphones, I had complaints. Even when I've used silent keyboards, I can't help it. I love to make every word count. Every key must be pressed with intention and force and fire.
Yes.
That's who I am.
You turn silent keyboards into
violent keyboards.
I love it.
And one more regular complaint I always have had, or amusement, is that I have I've won the award in 2 separate organisations for having the best face during meetings because I have zero poker face. I will not. If I think you're talking shit, I will just look at you like,
yeah. Whereas I'm just like,
you're really good.
Like literally the most utter chaos can be going on the call. Like I mean, it's the entertainment industry. So it's full of drama queens and chaos creators and all sorts of things. And I'll just be like, yeah, I completely understand that. So I wonder if we could approach it from this.
It's so true. You're so good at that. Meanwhile, I'm like,
what are you saying?
Has anybody else seen this? Like, guys.
Oh God, that's probably, I think.
That's more than enough. We've spilled way too much tea for one episode. I want to know something from the people listening.
Oh, go on.
Could you or would you work with your partner or spouse, and why or why not?
Oh, and then I kind of, because I love a bit of drama.
Oh yeah.
I'd also like to know, what are your partner's strengths and weaknesses and quirks? What would be the good, bad and ugly of working with your partner?
That's a way better question.
Doing business with you has been great.
It has been a pleasure, and I can only hope to be more patient in the years to come.
Come again. So Rigour Flow is part of our family business.
It is.
In order to keep that business going, we need you.
We do.
We need you to like, to rate, to review, to subscribe, to follow, to leave comments.
All the things.
All the things to help us grow. On Apple and Spotify, you can leave those stars.
All of them, 5 of them, every time.
Do 5 stars for Rigour Flow with Aiwan and Tamanda so that we can really increase our engagement and increase our audience.
So we have the fire we need to keep going.
There we go.
Thanks.
Thank you.